of you I know is definitely a track we appreciate it. We want to thank also both our members, our loyal members, as well as the non-members and some of the new faces we're seeing here tonight. We always love to see new faces and get more participation. If you have any questions on how or why to join the social media club, feel free to come up to any of us after the panel. We'll have a great sticker. We can actually tell you about why some of the perks of why you want to join and how to join as well. So before I actually go ahead and hand it over to Danielle, our lovely moderator, we're going to have a word from our sponsors, who we couldn't do this without, as well as our members. So sponsors are Motion Hosting for keeping our site alive and thriving, as always. Member Rita is going to speak in just a second here, as well as General Assembly, whatever venue we're at. So without further ado, I'll let you take it away, Member Rita.
My name is Richard from Member Rita. We find your best images in seconds. What we do is we are a photo replication service that provides your best images using your Instagram login and or Facebook login. And we're doing today as a promotion. The first 24 who sign up, we get a free set of 9 photo magnets. The rest will get 20% off from now for the next 30 days. If you have any questions or want to place an order, just come and talk to me. Thanks so much.
And then our General Assembly also wanted to say a little something as well. She's walking slowly.
Hi you guys, my name is Amber from General Assembly. Right there, sitting at the front desk is Daisy. Just a quick heads up of some things you guys should know. The bathrooms the ladies are over there down the hall, and the men's are down this hall to the right through the staircase, so that you guys should know we do have water provided, and there's no water right here. And also, keep in mind, this building does love dogs, but unfortunately we do share it with other companies. So if you guys can also please just mind keeping your dogs close to you and picking up after your dogs, that'd be awesome. Let us know if you need anything, and we'll be happy to let you guys get started. Yeah, great.
Thank you, General Assembly. And we'll go ahead and get started. Just don't forget to use the hashtag SMCLA whenever you're live tweeting this, because everyone's going to do that, right? All right. Thank you.
Hello, I'll introduce myself and I'll let the panelists introduce themselves. So my name is Danielle McBeal, and I worked at Etsy as one of the founding employees there and at BarkBox. And now I'm working for Dog for Dog, which is a 1-for-1 model, buy one, get one. And I have 2 dogs on the internet. Smiley Cricket is hiding right now, and Olie Jean. So I might chime in on some of the questions because I'm like that. So, I'll pass it to Christine.
Hi, I'm Christine, and this is my dog Puka. I also have a tortoise at home named Larry. I went to college that specialized in photography, so I have a pretty. It's okay, can you just sit and let me talk for 1 second? I apologize. She might do this the whole night. I have my boyfriend here that can take her away if it's unruly. You just have a lot to say. I know. Do you want to say something? Okay. I have a pretty strong background in photography, but I've had animals my whole life. I've loved animals my whole life. I worked as a vet tech for a little bit, and right now I volunteer at SMCLA. It's an adoption center here in Los Angeles. My Instagram account is all about Puka and Larry, my tortoise, and all of her quirky behavior. Yeah, that's kind of
Hi guys, my name is Ada Lee, and I work at this digital agency in Santa Monica. I'm an art director there, and this is Jordy, the corgi. He's named after. Okay. So he's named after Jordy LaForge of Star Trek: The Next Generation. And our Instagram handle is LaForgy. A lot of people think it's LA Corgi, so it's after the Star Trek character. Jordy is really excited, so I'm going to pass it on.
always been a cat lady, but I love dogs too, and I told myself when I worked there I was going to get my fix, and I wouldn't need a dog of my own. So a year later, this is my rescue Butters, aka Mr. Buttersworth when he's being bad. But yeah, we work with a lot of influencers like these dogs here at Dog Vacay. I've done a lot of outreach and programs with them where they help us, get the word out about campaigns that we're doing or philanthropic endeavors. So we're really excited to be here and talk about all that good stuff.
Hi, I'm Amanda, and this is Tusk. And I named her Tusk because she only has one giant tooth that looks like an elephant tusk. And she's very shy. I don't know if her tongue is out right now. It usually hangs out because nothing holds it in. But I rescued her a year and a half ago. I actually was not planning on getting a dog. I love dogs, but I travel a lot for my day job. And I was walking to the farmer's market with my best friend, and she's like, "Can we please look at the dogs?" And I was like, "Sorry, I just don't want one." And I literally met her, and I sat on the ground crying for 3 hours and took her home. And her story, actually, really quick, the reason she's missing teeth is she's actually around 11 or 12 probably, and she was found tied up to a fence eating rocks and had maggots eat through her stomach into her uterus. So she's had surgery on her uterus, her teeth all fell out, and she's just like the sweetest, most calm dog you will ever meet. And it's a crazy story how she kind of went viral on the internet, and we'll talk about that later, I'm sure. This is Tusk.
And also, I just wanted to point out that we do have a lot of dogs on the panel, but we have one person who calls herself a cat person versus more dogs. So I wanted to see from the audience, how can we do a cat versus dog poll? Dog people? Whoa. Cat people? Both? Cat people, we'll try to keep it interesting. So dogs versus cats on the internet. We actually had a really good discussion about this, so I'm going to bring it up to the panel. So who's ruling the internet, cats or dogs?
I kind of actually, in a different way, I think people have a weird stigma about cats. If you're not a cat person, more of the world, I feel like they're dog lovers. So I feel like in social media, like Instagram for some reason, I feel like dogs are a little bit more popular because a lot of people have a stigma against cats, actually. Except Grumpy Cat, of course.
Yeah, I actually think that cats get more attention on the internet, especially on Instagram, just because I think a lot of the dogs, you kind of, they're very trainable, they're very loving, but then when it comes to cats, I think they do a lot of But anyways, they do a lot of unexpected things that, when they do it, it's very, when you actually capture that moment, it's like very special, and I think that's why people find it very engaging.
I agree. I think it's funnier when cats are weird or quirky because we don't expect it from them. They're like so dignified or try to be, and then when they do something weird, it's hilarious. Whereas dogs are goofy all the time.
Yeah, I was going to say that I think there may be more cats, but it's funny how dog personalities can be stronger. So first serious question, what's the motivation behind your account for your pet?
I just started my account in 2013, and I didn't even plan on it being about Puka or my tortoise Larry. I just was like, oh, everyone's on Instagram. I'm just going to post things about my life. I think I had like 13 followers. It's okay, dude. I know you guys are having a conversation, yeah, so I just posted like fun things like butterflies and your coffee and the random things you see on Instagram, and occasionally I would post photos of Puka and they would get the most likes. And one day I had a really good friend of mine
write, Puka is my homie. And I was like, Puka is my homie. And I think a lot of people just liked her photos the most because they were fun and they could relate to it and they brought them a lot of joy. So from there on out, I was like, screw everything else. I'm just going to go with Puka's face. People like Puka's face. And the motivation behind my account is just kind of to show the relationship between Puka and I and how much fun we have together and our adventures. And I think that's what resonates with people is they like seeing a theme, they like seeing consistency, they like to know what they're going to get each day. And they don't, as much as I have many other interests, my followers are interested in my animals and their story and the things that we do together. Did that answer the question? I'm not sure how I went. All right. Movie video.
So I started reading.
I started mine because I didn't want to overwhelm my own personal followers with what was going to turn into an entire, just all of him. So it's kind of a fun way for me to not have to hold back from like posting as many photos of him as I want. So it's a good way for me to separate out. Like I have my life, and he's definitely a part of that Instagram account, but he's like 20% as opposed to now I have one where I can just post about him all day long for my friends and family mostly. I wouldn't call him famous yet. I've only had him since February, so he's new to me. But that was my motivation. I think that's for a lot of people at first is like, I don't know, the separation for me.
So I, of course, on my personal Instagram, all the pictures of Tessa that I post, the tongue hanging out, crowd pleaser, of course. And a lot of people knew her story, so they gravitated towards her. So a year ago, I kept saying, I have to start an Instagram, or I have to start an Instagram. I never did it. 12 weeks ago, I started her Instagram, maybe 12 weeks. She's at 23,000 followers now, with only 84 posts, which is incredible, I think. I mean, her growth and her engagement rates are apparently through the roof, according to everyone that's reaching out to me now. But there was one picture, actually. If you look at her Instagram, her profile picture, I don't know how. I think somehow it got picked up on a popular page or something through my personal Instagram account, and that picture went viral. Literally, like Derek Huff posted it, and Rose McGowan, all these celebrities were posting this picture of my dog, and I was like, where did you people get this picture? I didn't understand, and so I'm like, I obviously have to start her Instagram. So that one picture is what kind of kicked me in the butt to start it, and since then, in the last few weeks, she's 23,000 followers. But I think it's the positive message and her inspiring story also that kind of keep people so happy.
Back to Tori, finally. I started his Instagram account last year. I got it in 2013. Back then, I didn't even know that there was an Instagram account of dogs and cats. I didn't really use I didn't use Instagram at all back then. And then one of my friends who has 3 corgis was like, oh, we have a lot of corgi events in LA, so you should start an account and just meet people, and that's how I got started. And it took me a while to get into it, but I think people just kind of, I just wanted to share pictures of my dog, and pictures and videos of my dog, and everybody loves corgis. So that's how it just kind of started blowing up, and I think now, now I don't really have an end goal in mind. I just want to continue doing what I do and hopefully make people laugh because he's very friendly and he's very, he has a lot of funny moments, so I like to share that with people.
So this next question is something that I'm sure you guys get asked a lot. Let's say you open up an Instagram account for your pet, then what? So it's interesting that I don't think anyone here just wanted to open up an account so that they would have 50,000 followers and have a famous dog. But if you do have any tips or any successes that you can account for,
recommend starting an Instagram account to become famous. I don't think that's the way to go about it. I think one of the best pieces of advice anyone's ever told me about Instagram was being famous on Instagram is like being rich in Monopoly. It just doesn't count. So I feel like your end goal for Instagram is to either promote a message, whether it be about a cool company that you started or something you believe in, whether it's charity, or just have fun with it. So my Instagram account is all about having fun and showing people a positive message about rescuing animals and what that relationship can bring to you. Yeah, I definitely don't think the end goal was to be famous. I still don't really think I'm famous or Puka's famous. But it is a good way to spread a message if you have something to say or if you have a product that you would like to sell.
I think I think I completely agree with what you said about your end goal or your main goal or any goal shouldn't be to become famous on Instagram, especially with a pet. I think the biggest tip that I can give is that if you just try to post high quality photography and just really try to stick to your pet's personality, I think that's like the best and only way to go.
I think their answers were way better than mine, but because I'm a social media marketer, I'm going to try and give some actual, growing Instagram advice. High quality photography, for sure. I think what you said earlier about consistency and having, a certain point of view, I think animals or just any account that has a theme or a given, there's one that this lady is a groomer and she does slow-mo videos of dogs as she's grooming them, and it might be my favorite one of all. But that's a very specific thing. Anyone who follows her isn't going anywhere, because if that's what you want to see, this is what you're going to get. It's very specific content. Hashtags are huge. In general, I think the rule of thumb is between 7 or 10, no more than that. And you just sort of have to look through Instagram to see which ones are the most popular in your specific category, and using more niche ones like the breed of your dog as opposed to car or work or ones like that. People are using ones that you think people would actually be searching, like Corgi or Corgistagram. Yeah, I think those are the main things.
I have a question, actually, because I don't know if I agree with the hashtag part. I actually think when Instagram started, hashtags were very important. Everyone was like, hashtag Jen, hashtag whatever. Now I think, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I think that, when you see hashtags now, sometimes it can actually dilute a brand if there are too many hashtags. And I think that very specific hashtags, for example, if a company is running a promotion and you want to enter that contest, the hashtag will make sense. But if you write hashtag dogs on Instagram, there are millions of people doing exactly what you're doing. So within 10 seconds, people look at that. The chances of somebody finding your photo are slim to none. So I think that you actually, if you're trying to find followers, you actually need to be incredibly targeted. So for example, Tusk, I think I want the people to follow her to be excited and happy. I think there's a lot of haters on Instagram or people that write negative things, and I've seen one negative comment in the entire 12 weeks that Tusk said, her 23,000 followers. But I put across a very positive message. People used to say, she's ugly, why'd you adopt her? And I got her. And now she's hair and she's beautiful. And they're like, oh my God, she's so cute. So I kind of, want to promote an image of beauty and everybody's beautiful and positivity and all that. But, so I think I think it's important to actually be as specific as possible in trying to build your following. Especially if you want kind of engagement.
Has anyone else encountered negative comments or anything that you've had to deal with on your accounts that you want to share?
So negative comments, I think, it just comes with the territory, and the best way that I dealt with it was just to ignore it, because there's really no use. I've had a lot of people comment on my page, overweight or, oh, he's so fat, and which he really isn't. It's just like the pretty body. It looks fat, but it's really not. So, it's just, I think the best way to handle it is just to take the high road and not respond back to it. And speaking of the negative experiences, I recently started watermarking my photos because I found out that these companies who are like in Asia, they started using our photos to promote their events. And, I didn't know about it, and somebody just randomly told me about it, otherwise I wouldn't have known. So I think, that it's a little bit sad because, I think even though we want to promote all these positive things, all the negative effects of it kind of just comes along with it.
We actually get a different kind of, so Dog Daycare account has, 30-some thousand followers, and we get, I wouldn't call it haterade, but there are like watchdogs out there who are looking for anything to complain or chat about, and a lot of that is probably being the company, but like if there's a dog off a leash in a photo in what appears to be a public park, people are like, that dog should be on a leash, and anything that they can find to complain. So that's more what we have to watch out for, is like making sure that, especially as a brand, every photo shoot that we do is like everything is correct in how it should be, which is, you can't please everyone because everyone's got different opinions, but that's actually more of the negativity that we deal with.
And when it does happen, do you guys ignore it usually?
It depends on what it is. If it's a reasonable and we're like, oh yeah, that would be, we want to make sure that we're always representing safety or whatever, then we'll take it into advisement and change the shoot next time. But a lot of times it's not necessarily, it's just like a controversial opinion about something, so there's not much you can do other than just thank them for their opinion.
Yeah, haters gonna hate. You made it, so you gotta hate her. But yeah, you just ignore it. If someone is actually commenting a negative comment on your Instagram, it's just not worth even a breath. Delete it if you see it, and then ignore it otherwise.
And besides ignoring it, really just laugh it off. Your photos don't suck, your dog isn't ugly, your product isn't stupid. Like, people, they're so bored, they just want something to say. So just laugh it off. You're not doing anything wrong for people trying to troll your account, So I wanted to ask about ways you collaborate. Talked about brands a little bit. So have you done, how do you decide who you collaborate with brands, or if you don't, then you decide not to do that?
So Tusk, obviously, again, because she's only been on Instagram for 12 weeks, and she's been getting, tons and tons of inquiries every day. I personally chose to be very, very specific. It obviously is just the beginning of Tusk's Instagram life, and I don't want to just kind of, say yes to every brand that's offering her something. It's very nice of them, but I actually have basically accepted nothing, and actually the reason that I'm kind of up here today is the first thing that Tusk has done actually is something with Dog for Dog, because I thought it was such an amazing company. A lot of people are saying they'll offer you money and offer you all these things where, they're just products that make no sense for who she is, and I could do that every day, and then her followers are like, what is this? This is the worst account I've ever seen. So the Dog for Dog partnership is actually the first thing that she's done. It has nothing to do with money. We just fully believed in it. That's why we did it. Down the road, for Tess specifically, the companies that we would work with or that we've talked to, for us personally, it all comes down to really aligning with the mission and what we a positive image, and that's just Tess. If she was another dog that had a funny and sarcastic, tone of voice, and another brand might make sense for her. So for Tess, she's very selective.
Is there a way you know what you're worth on the internet? So if a brand comes to you, is there?
I think, obviously the number of followers is huge. Reach is the number one thing people are looking for. When you're talking just straight statistics, obviously engagement rate the cost per engagement, CPA, the number of comments that you get, the number of likes that you get. So if you're getting, I think that I've heard, if you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but like anything over 5% likes on an Instagram photo is actually a huge number these days. So if your, followers are really, really engaged and liking photos and commenting, that's actually going to drive up your network or your worth monetarily a lot. That's just kind of like the simple statistic of it.
So we, ever since we started going bigger on Instagram, I've had a lot of brands reach out to me. I don't work with a lot of them, mainly for the same reasons. I don't believe in their products, or they just, a lot of them try to take advantage of you, and I think a lot of it is due to the fact that a lot of the dog owners are really, really young. A lot of them are teenagers, and they don't really know any better. So these brands, they know that they can just send them like a $5 product and they'll post for them. So one of the best tips that I got was actually one of my coworkers, Jonathan, who was a panelist here last month. He basically said, well, think about how much time you spend on this. You set up the photo shoot, you think of a concept, you not only do you take a lot of time photographing your dog, you also spend time editing the photos, and you think about the caption, and there's a lot of thought and process that goes into it. So I think for me, that was my eye-opening moment, and I feel like that's when I realized that I need to start being really selective with the brands that I work with.
I'm the same way. I'm pretty selective with the brands that I work with. Not only because I want to believe in their message and what they offer, like rescues and all the fun things that I believe in, but also it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier is to have a really successful Instagram account, you want to be consistent. And if you start promoting a whole bunch of other brands, people are going to forget what you're all about. So you want to keep your Instagram about you and your personality and your style and your product and your company and your pet or whatever it is. You don't want to venture too far from that. But I also promote stuff for Dog. I really believe in every product that you get, they donate back to a rescue. She's going to bust this water bottle open all over the floor. And but it's important to keep your Instagram feed consistent so your followers stay with you and they tell their friends about you. So you don't want to kind of include a bunch of too many other companies because they're going to forget who you are. That's going to get haters.
I'm coming at it from the other point of view as a like Dog for Dog who wants to work with these dogs, but it's interesting because I look for exactly what they're doing, and that's accounts that don't just post about anything, that choose very carefully, because I know they're the ones who are going to understand why home dog boarding is so much better than kennels, and they're the ones who are going to really want to work with us, and they're going to have better engagement rates and better, the audience will get it too. That's going to be the people that we want to reach. So I look for celebrity accounts that are really choosy about who they work with.
Yeah, I'll talk on that a little bit since I just started working with Dr. Dog and full disclosure, I was the one who asked them if they wanted to work with us. But there was something about each account that I reached out to that I personally really loved and I could see and feel like the spirit of the animal, that sounds kind of crazy, but so all the authenticity that you have experienced, that really is something that brands love. We want you to have an audience that thinks what you're promoting is something they actually really believe in and need. Correct. So I wanted, so I want to talk about sort of the line between your personal relationship with your dog and what you're portraying out there. So a few things have happened to me with my online accounts. One thing was when I first got Cricket, she could see, and actually one photo of her was on Reddit and it went viral, and it was her with very normal eyes and a big smile on her face. And then she went blind, and I had to constantly answer the question, what happened? And it was cleft lip, so part of her lip is actually missing. So I get a lot of questions of what happened to her lip and did somebody hurt her and all sorts of things, but I actually really like that personal side of social media. It really it allows me to spread a lot of positive information about, clefts or certain breeds or rescues that I'm involved with. So I actually call it like the new age pen pal. I like it. I like that you can share stories with people and you can relate with people on things that you like. And I also think it's just, it can be a really good thing. It can help, bring pets home. It can help you raise money for things you believe in, charities, pets that need, help. So yeah, I think that social media is really personal, but I actually really enjoy that side of it. And you can keep whatever you want from them. You don't have to share everything, but if someone asks about her face, I'm happy to tell them all about cleft lips and what that is and where she came from. I actually like that part of it.
I completely agree. I think, again, you'll see in the messages that Tusk is saying. Obviously, I'm the speaker, and I am a very, very positive person, and I think, I love the fact that, I always like to inspire people and make people feel happy, and, to me, I see a lot of people that have, insecurities and don't feel good about themselves, like me when I was a 12-year-old girl and I was overweight and, dorky, and, sorry. And so I actually, for me, I use that to make people feel happy and inspire people. And I think it's crazy, but I get fan mail like crazy. To Tusk's email and direct messages. I get dozens and dozens a day of people actually saying, "Thank you so much. I feel so inspired by Tusk. She makes me so happy. Her pictures make me feel so happy." And I'm saying, "Oh my God, I love my life." No, but I mean it's just awesome. You share what you want to share. You always have to be careful with, don't geotag your house. That's like a no-brainer. So, be careful with that kind of stuff. But I love the fact that her imperfections are what make her beautiful. It sounds so cheesy, but it's true. Her tooth sticks out, her tongue sticks out, and her eyes are, just big googly eyes, and it makes people happy. So I think that's awesome.
So what's next for your pets on social media? Is there anything else you're using out there? Maybe Snapchat, Periscope, or do you have anything else you want to share with us?
Well, I think for me, I just want to continue what I was doing, and I think, speaking of, seeing a lot of dogs here, I actually get a lot of negative feedback because Jordy is from a breeder, and he's not, he wasn't adopted. And I think, but the thing is, he's from a very reputable breeder. Both of his parents are champion for these. And I think I want to spread more awareness, I think, when it comes to getting a puppy and getting the puppy from the right place, because I really, really, really hate puppy mills and backyard breeders. And I just want to spread more awareness and information and teach people how to get their pets from the right sources.
Puka and I have a couple things planned. Since her Instagram kind of blew up, I of course will continue that and spread her fun message of positive awareness and how rescuing animals is a really great thing. From that, I've kind of developed a website for her for people to go to so they can just learn more about her, and there's a way for you to give back to SMCLA. It's an adoption center that I volunteer at. So it's kind of just my way to help give back to this organization that I really believe in. And also for my Instagram account, I think the biggest question I get from people is, how do you get your dog to do so many cool things? She's so well behaved and she'll do whatever you say and she'll send you fun boxes, and it's really important to understand that anything you do with an animal, it comes from having a really good, strong relationship with them. So from this, since Instagram could only take me so far, I've kind of developed a short web series on how you can have a relationship with your dog. It's not about just getting them to sit and lay down and do whatever you want. They can actually be your partner in life, and that's how dogs and animals respond to you. So from that, yeah, I've had a lot of inspiring projects come up from Instagram, and I think it'll probably just evolve from there, social media wise.
We just started periscoping from Dog Vacay Tuesday. You can check out our puppy parties. And it's been really fun. We get a lot of good engagement, and we're doing a tour with Manny the Frenchie, where he's raising money for Save a Vet across the country. And so last Friday we were at Zappos the event was on Saturday, so we went in a day early and we Snapchatted Manny from the Zappos office, and all the Zappos employees could donate $1 to the cause to take a photo with him, and it was really fun. So yeah, we're definitely exploring ways to use different channels as well.
So since, again, Jessica's new, so obviously, working on her Instagram is really important to us. And then I think Snapchat is something that we're going to start doing very soon, because she actually has a really hilarious, adorable personality that people will love. But going on to that, what's next, I do think, advice-wise, it is important not to jump onto every single form of social media with your animal. If you try to do Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat and who even knows what else, Vine, everything, you're not going to be able to put enough time into one of them to get it at the quality that you want it to be. I think, dogs, obviously imagery speaks louder, I think, than words. Unless you have an incredibly unique tone of voice, Twitter obviously will make sense, or, they do crazy tricks. But focus on that one or two media outlets that your animal will completely shine in. Otherwise, I think you might spread yourself too thin and not grow as you want to.
So we'll take some questions. I just wanted to let you know one thing that we're doing at Dog for Dog. It's Dog for Dog Paws. So if you take a photo of your dog's paw and the hashtag Dog for Dog Paws, we'll donate a meal to a shelter dog and rescue dog. So when I started a few weeks ago, we had 1,500 followers. Now we're almost at 15,000 followers. So the rest is a big deal. And we have almost 50,000 pods posted. So that's a lot of meals for dogs. So again, using our mission and what we really believed in to build our following, which is very exciting to watch. And we'll take questions now. Yeah.
So do any of you, or maybe anyone in the audience, have advice about how a brand or an organization can use pets and images of pets in their work, not as the primary focus, but as sort of in a campaign or something to drive engagement?
We do a ton of partnerships, like for Mother's Day. Bloom That is a local marketplace for florists that does same day and next day delivery. And they came to our offices and did a photo shoot with flower crowns and bouquets that they made for our dogs. And then they posted it and we posted it as well. So it depends on what your company is. If it's a service, that's a little bit harder, or business to business as opposed to a consumer facing product that looks great in imagery. But yeah, we've done campaigns with every sort of company I can imagine, partnerships and email swaps, and you can find a way to put a dog in almost any photo I've discovered, especially if they're wearing an outfit of some sort.
Yeah, I think that partnerships is pretty interesting, and just being openly partnering with someone and then brainstorm together.
And being on the other side of that, I think it's also important to be genuine when you approach the dogs that you want to work with, because I've got some emails where they forgot to change the name in the email, and I'm like, that's not my dog. So I think just finding the right dog and not just reaching out to everybody, because when you do that, the dog community, they talk to each other and they know what kind of friends to avoid. So I think that was one of the things.
Anyone else? I have a question. Is anyone on? Does anyone use Facebook? Is it here? Did you? Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a Facebook account for Jordy, but it's really small. It's really tough to get followers on Facebook. But I think one good thing about Facebook is that the people that follow you are very, very loyal, and they engage with you a lot. They always comment on my videos, which is really nice of them. But I think one thing that I found from doing both Instagram and Facebook is that the Facebook audience, well, this might be really obvious, but the Facebook audience is a lot older. So then sometimes you do have to kind of, edit your content a little to cater to the right audiences.
I do have something to say about Facebook, and I do kind of agree to not, kind of commit to every social media outlet out there, because you will dilute what you're good at. Like if your Instagram feed is strong, then you don't want to be everywhere else because you're not going to have time for your Instagram anymore. However, I love Instagram because I'm a very visual person, but it limits me to how much information I can get from that and how much you can say. So I do rely on other things like YouTube and Facebook, because if I see a company post something on Instagram that I only have that caption to go by, and I want somewhere else to go look up more information. So I know that happens to me a lot with rescues, or a lot of rescues don't even have their own Instagram account, so I rely on people to repost, 2 or 3 sentences on what's happening, and I can then go find them on Facebook or a YouTube video and get way more information out there. So I do kind of think it's important, if you have a product or a company, to have another outlet that you can give people more information than just a nice photo of your product. And to answer your question about incorporating pets into your photos for companies, I recommend looking up the hashtag. It's called Pets Doing People Things. And it's the coolest hashtag ever, because it's pets doing all sorts of things for companies sitting at computers and eating popcorn, and it's promoting all sorts of things for companies that do rentals or food companies. I just think there's a lot of way to incorporate pets into your photos for whatever you do, because pets aren't gender specific and they're not age specific. Everyone likes a cute photo of a dog doing something funny or a cat doing something funny.
So maybe someone or all of you can answer, what's in it for you and the dog? Why are you continuing this large following? What's in it for you? What's in it for the dog?
So I think, for me, what's in it for me is that I like to share my dog's funny antics. He always makes me laugh. His butt is really big. Everybody talks about it on social media, which is kind of funny. But it's a lot of fun. He does so many funny things that I want to share with people and make them laugh. So that's just one thing. And also, I personally don't really know anything about photography. I bought a camera a few months ago, and I just put it on. Majority of it is an auto setting, and I don't really know a lot about it. So I like to continue learning how to take photos, and it's just a personal development thing. I work as a creative at an ad agency, so it's just I would like to continue learning more and improving my photography.
I do it because it's really important for me to express to people how having a relationship with your dog or any animal is actually going to make your life so much easier and better. And I feel like I continue with my Instagram to help people understand that it's more than just training your dog. You can have a really good companionship and a good relationship. And Puka goes with me everywhere, and sharing that with people really inspires them. And having a lot of followers makes it awesome, and it really propels
propels me to keep going because it just shows me that people are listening and they're interested, and it really pushes me and challenges me to be more creative and, promote Puka for, whatever reason, whether it's like you should have fun with your dog or go on more adventures with your dog. If I didn't have a large following, I don't know how much the motivation would be there. Like, the more that I get, the more I realize that it should push me harder to be creative and keep going.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that it's another community is also a huge part of it. I just met so many people, actually in person, that I first met on Instagram, and especially the corgi community is just so supportive. When one corgi is in need, everybody pitches in, and it's so amazing to just meet these people in person and get to know the people and their dogs. And I think, to what she said, I think a lot of people, they get pets, or they get puppies because they're cute, but they don't realize how much work it goes into keeping a dog and raising them and training them and bonding with them. It's a lot of time. It takes so much time, and when I'm not working, I'm spending a majority. And right now we're training and competing in agility, and I love sharing videos like that and teaching people about what kind of activities that you can do with your dog.
This is something that nobody has touched on, business-wise and money-wise. But for me, obviously, like I said before multiple times, I love the fact that I can share a really inspiring message. And that really motivates me and excites me. But on the other hand, I've been in marketing and advertising for 10 years. I love what I do. I've been doing it, I've had a pretty specific job. That's what I've been doing. So for me, it's really, really cool to learn about all the different sides of business now. Well, it's kind of like running your own business. When I was like 12 years old, I was like, I'm going to be a CEO of a company. And that was kind of my dream. And, this isn't just, money-based. As we've all said, of course money comes with it, which is awesome. But it's really cool for me to learn all of the different aspects of, running a business. And so yeah, that's really, I love business, and I'm a dork and I love all that stuff. So that's cool for me.
I think we're even have gone over our time. So, panel, great, awesome.
Thank you again, panelists, and Danielle, moderator, and thank you all again, all of you on behalf of Social Media Club LA. And you can stick around a little bit, hang out, have a little yappy hour with meet the panelists, and finish your pizza, please. And have a good night. Thank you again. Also, stay tuned for July event. We're going to be announcing it soon, so be sure to follow us on socials and our emails, and talk to anyone with a green sticker if you want to join the club. Thanks again.